Is it going to come tomorrow? Is it going to come next week? No, the time for justice, the time for freedom, and the time for equality is always right now.
You're listening to another Perspective Talk Show.
Hello. This is Sam, a.k.a. Lucy Bones.
This show is brought to you by Rebirth Radio.
Something said, something done within the community feeds into the stereotype, feeds into the prejudice.
Shadow. Radio.
I think more community involvement could be beneficial in teaching people about budgeting, income, and how to save, and multiple streams of income. And
you're listening to another Perspective Talk Show.
Hello. I am coming to you live. This is Sam, a.k.a. Lucy Bones with Rebirth Radio, another perspective, formerly known as the Black people. We have changed our name. It is another perspective. I am happy to come to you under this new name, and thank you to Shadow Worlds Media for rebroadcasting and enjoying the show. Now, this installment is the third edition in the series that I'm doing on narcissistic relationships and the whole abusive ordeal I went through between 2007 and 2013. And this one is Rebirth. You know, as we left off last time, my entire life was destroyed by this individual. He had me to the point where the room would spin just being in the same room with him. My skin would quiver and shake on the inside. My stomach would be in knots. I would never know what he was going to say to whom, when, because sometimes he might praise you and build you up, and other times he might just rip you down and accuse you of all these things, say all sorts of horrific things that he was doing, but make them seem like you were doing them, flipping the script, gaslighting. So when I left him, I thought, okay, well, he can't physically assault me anymore. He can't emotionally abuse me anymore, or so I thought. And so I left with our child, which we weren't married, we were engaged, we were cohabitating. Yes, I know some people will disagree with this. It will ruffle some feathers. I get it. So I took our child and I went to my parents' home. And I stayed there because I wanted to feel safe. I wanted my daughter to not have to endure that anymore. And he immediately, the day I left, he didn't even wait until we determined that there was not going to be any reconciliation. The day that I left, and he spoke to me on the phone, and I said I wasn't coming back. And he said, well, I go forward, not backwards. And if you don't come back now, then there's no coming back. Okay? Well, that day, he posted a lot of things online that he created, things that he asked me to do, revenge porn. He asked me to take some pictures and videos. He manned the camera, put me in poses, put me in things, in outfits and things like that. He said, well, it's better than asking strangers or watching porn or going to a strip club. You're the person you're my person. I want to look at you. And if you're at that time of the month or you're not feeling well and I have urges, I'd rather look at you than someone else. So, you know, in spite of my hesitation, in spite of my arguments, I wanted to believe that he would be a just and trustworthy and honorable person, that if anything were to happen, he would destroy them, that he wouldn't hang on to them for their use. So I went ahead and did it. That was really stupid of me. I'm not even going to lie. That I'm just going to be completely blatantly honest. That was entirely stupid of me. I thought I could trust him. We have a kid together. Why would he want to ruin me? He's a narcissist, right? So, flash forward, all these images and videos are online, and he's pulling images that he stole from my computer and my SD cards and things like that. job interview photos that I did because I had some friends who were Muslims when I lived in New York, and they sent me a hijab and a jalabiyah for Eid to go with them to the Eid celebration when they came to town. And I just so happened to interview later on for a shelter position advocating for Muslim women who have been abused. And in order to reach the Muslim women in the shelter that was run by Muslim women who ran it for other Muslim women, I needed to also cover myself and, respect the cultural traditions. And so I had been married at the time that all this was taking place, not to my narcissist, but I had been married at the time, and he was like, oh my gosh, you look adorable, and I got to get a picture. So he took a picture of me and my whole outfit, and I went to my job interview. I didn't get the job, but I still have the whole outfit. It's in the back of my closet. I'll never get rid of it. It was a gift. However, that went up online, and court documents, there are real court cases, okay? There are real court cases out there that involve divorce and child custody stuff, and none of it is as horrible as the stuff that he is manufacturing in writing, because he does it under the actual real court file number, and he shoots like the cover page of the document, and then he takes little tiny sentences that appear to be within the document, and he rearranges them and makes them horrible, horrific. And he did it under my former name, the name that I had a relationship with him in. Put up child abuse websites, put up fake dating profiles, sexual encounter profiles, put my media on mega file share sites, my social security number, my driver's license on the dark web. I mean, I had financial problems, credit issues, job issues, housing issues, identity issues, safety issues, integrity issues, because how do I explain this? So I obviously got a restraining order, an order for protection on him. The laws in Minnesota, like I was saying before, weren't up to par. They couldn't really protect me. Yeah, what he was doing was wrong. Yes, it was breaking the order for protection. But what statute are they going to charge him under? What do they have to really hold him to something? And it wasn't until 2015, 16-ish, Representative John Lush passed the laws, and now there are laws in place to protect people like me from people like him doing what people like him did to me. My entire life was ruined. And the only time it started getting better is when I changed my name and my social security number, and I filed against my eviction. I wound up evicted because I couldn't keep a job, because anytime an employer would find this information out some type of way, of course, maybe Google searches, maybe family members. I do a lot of human services and client-facing jobs, because that's what my degree and my career interest had been in, and serving others, right? So it's rooted in service. And so if family members try to look me up under my name, they would find all the stuff on Google. At one point in time, there was over 52 websites dedicated to destroying me entirely. I'm a bad parent, I'm a narcissist, I've done this, I'm abusive, and I have violent tendencies. None of that is true. None of it. None of it. So I had to combat this, plus go to court against him. And every time we interact about our daughter, in the meantime, I'm trying to talk reasonably, and he's insulting me, putting me down, telling me you don't care about her. If I don't choose what he wants for her, and what he wants is only the best thing for her, nothing else is. So if I suggest something else, or if I suggest something that's a compromise or meeting in the middle or best for both or best for all, it's not good enough. I must not care about her enough. I must be a terrible parent. And he literally has said that. I have the email. Or he'll say things like, you and your stooges don't get to dictate terms to me. I will not sit by and abide by your interpretation of legal documents. Well, my interpretation of the legal documents he was talking about was actually the correct interpretation, and I cited it correctly I actually put the excerpt in the message. He owed me money. He refused to pay for a service he wanted. And the service he wanted was going to give him a win, give me a win. Because they didn't railroad me and completely destroy me, he didn't want to pay for it. Even though we both came out win-win. Our daughter came out ahead because of it. He didn't want to pay. So the court battle can't end because the lady couldn't write her report unless she got her money. So I forked over $900, $400 of my money and $500 of his, expecting and knowing that I'm supposed to get this $500 back. That was in October of 2018. The lady said, I'm going to make sure you get your money back. She recommended I get my money back. She told him he had to pay me back. His attorney told him he had to pay me back. I got an order specifically saying that he had to pay me back in January. He said, I thought she was paid enough. I didn't think she deserved any more money than what I already gave her. So I don't think I have to pay this money. If she paid this, that's on her. No, it's not. Our child will suffer if this didn't happen. So, no. Plus, guess what? During all of this, I'm going through chemotherapy and radiation and a septic infection and surgeries, and all this chaos is happening, and I'm just trying to make it through. My entire life, my education, my career, my house, everything was a mess. I was homeless with my child for 10 months. We lived in a campground, and yes, I cleared it with child protection and the courts and things like that. They said as long as the campground is open, there's running water, electricity, she's getting to school, she's clean, she's fed, all of her needs are taken care of, fine. When there were storms or as it got cold, we went and stayed with relatives. No big deal. And then I got my apartment. I was on a list, so no big deal. And I've been stable in my apartment for quite some time now. But my entire life had to be destroyed in order to be rebuilt. And I do believe that his abuse and the stress he put me under, not only during the 6 years of our relationship, but from 2013 onward, all of the various things he's done to try to destroy me in my life, contributed to the development and the advancement of my cancer. If I could sue him for damages, I would. But what good is that going to do my child? You know, I think of everything in terms of how is this going to help or hurt my child? My kid deserves better from the both of us. And I don't want to do anything that would ever hurt my child. So I haven't pursued things because I don't want to hurt her. I want her to have the best opportunities. But this man deserves to be behind bars. He deserves to have financial sanctions imposed upon him. He deserves to have some kind of accountability and responsibility in what he's done. And now I find out that his ex-wife or his new wife, he's done the same thing to her outside, except for the revenge porn stuff. She never took pictures or videos for him. But that doesn't mean he didn't set up spy cam. But in any case, like, she never agreed to any of that or did any of that, so she was smart about that. I was young. I'm 10 years younger than he is. I was young at the time, in my early 30s, and due to my history, you know, I was an easy target because I wanted to believe so much good, right? But I find out he's done the same exact gaslighting, and he's faked hallucinations and accused her of things. And then when they get into a counseling situation, I never said that. I never did that. There you go, making stuff up again. Gaslighting, lying, flipping the script. Oh, that's you, not me. Emotionally abused. I mean, he is horrible. And nobody deserves what he's done to us. Now he's doing it to other people. He did that to his daughter, his own daughter. They don't have a relationship now because of what he's done. And it's a shame. She's a beautiful, amazing young woman. Man, I'm telling you. So I had to start with a whole new career in education. I had to convert my education over. And I had to start looking for new jobs because, you know what? None of my jobs could carry over because of the history he's created with the online stuff. So I can't bring that with me. If they find out it's me, they're not going to hire me. Then I'm going to be in the same boat. So I had to start from scratch at 38. But, you know, as soon as I changed my name at 38 and my identity, I got the diagnosis of cancer. So for 2 years, I was just waiting, fighting cancer, winning against cancer, but fighting it, and waiting to restart my life. So finally, I got it to a point in my cancer recovery where I am still undergoing some things. I still have some minor issues, but I'm at a point where I can work. And I have to get back into the field. And, you know, I've tried going into, like, car salesman, real estate. I don't have the money to get involved in real estate. Not yet, anyway. And I've entertained all these other options. Retail, you know, stuff like that. Stuff like that I'm overqualified for, but haven't been hired. So here I go, breaking my way back into the human services and a life of service, because I guess that's where I'm meant to be. That's who wants me. That's who will hire me. That's where I get the callbacks from. And, you know, I have to start all over under this new identity. I have to start all over. And it's not easy. I should be further along than I am. I should be making more money than I am. I should have a house and a nice car and be able to go on decent vacations. I should be able to have a lot of free time to spend with my kids. But instead, I'm grunting it out, starting over, building myself back up because of this man. A whole career. You know, when I was at a certain point in my education where all I needed was a 700-hour internship and then take a test, and I'd be licensed and credentialed. I mean, I had that. And now I'm financially at a point where, you know, I did take another credentialed program, and I could get that credential. If I could find a job that would be amenable to me being able to earn some money and do my internships and go to supervision and things like that. I can do it if I can find the right job that will allow me the flexibility to do that. And so that's what I'm doing now, because the current position I'm in, it's overnight, it's a lot of hours. All I do is sleep, eat, sleep, and work. And that's not healthy. And I do spend time with my kids, especially my youngest. And I do things with her, and I do get up and you know, muddle through the day tired and whatnot. But at the same time, it's not fair to her. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to life. So I need to find something better, because my kids and my life is worth more. My family's worth more. And if I just give up and settle in to something I am just doing because because of whatever, then I'm letting him win. I need to push forward, keep going. And I still may try to find a way to allow the state, because of the circumstances, to either grant me an ability to take the exam and allow me to be licensed under the previous experiences I've had, the supervised experiences that I've had, and and just give me a variance or grant me that, because I'm not going to, no school's going to let me go back just for an internship. So I could get a mental health degree and a substance abuse degree. I'm still in a program that will allow me to do my internship for the substance abuse stuff. But man, oh man, oh man, my life has been really impacted by this in so many ways. And not to mention, it's caused me to do a whole life review of my trauma. Like, I have been forced to look at my life as a trauma timeline and see what early traumas, what early experiences in my life has caused me and created my condition that I would seek out somebody like him, or that I would allow someone like him into my life, because I didn't seek him out, he sought me out, but I permitted it. And so what kind of condition had I had to be in? What did he see in me that he thought he could latch onto and that he could take advantage of? What kind of desperation, what kind of personality, what kind of neediness did he see and prey on? And that's what I was after. I was after this self-discovery, and I know a lot about myself. I'm very self-aware, and I don't mind revealing that I go to counseling. As a matter of fact, I think every mental health, chemical health, anybody really, I think everybody needs to have a counselor, needs to have a therapist. You don't need to have a diagnosable mental illness or a diagnosable condition to see a counselor. You can just be affected by life in general. Transitions, stress, grief, loss, whatever. You don't have to have a diagnosable condition to see a counselor. Me, I've had a lot happen to me. A lot of weird things have happened to me. So, I think the stressful, weird, challenging things that have transpired in the last couple of years, especially since 2013, and especially since the cancer stuff, it's been just chaos. And I definitely think that I deserve more, and I needed to look at that. I needed to really I needed help dealing with that, because I still get emotionally affected by the things that he's done, because he still does things. Like, for instance, I will say something about our daughter or ask a question. I'm entitled to this information. I'm legally and contractually entitled under the law and under court order to information that he's the gatekeeper of, right? And when I ask for this information, I do so in a nice way, asking him, okay, I'm asking you respectfully, tell me this, or please let me know, blah, 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 blah. Some people have said omit the please and just say, tell me where this is. But I find that that's not true to myself, and I tend to go back to the asking instead of telling. And I get nowhere with either one. He enjoys being in control or thinking that he's in control. He enjoys being the gatekeeper. He enjoys being the one to make sure that I don't get the information that I'm entitled to, because he wants the upper hand. He wants to feel like he's the boss. He's in control. Everything's good around him, and I'm the clueless, terrible parent that knows nothing. He's been the one responsible for all this, when really he's only done this fairly recently. I've been in charge of everything until fairly recently, when he found out that he wasn't going to get his way. Then he started trying to take over everything and not give me information. But he'll write things like, you and your stooges have no authority over me, and you will not dictate terms to me. I will continue to pray for your mental health. And in each and every court proceeding, he brings up mental health. And in each and every court proceeding, I have a psych eval, as well as he does. And in each and every court proceeding, a mental health professional writes a letter on my behalf saying she does not have a mental health disorder. She is not mentally ill. She is of sound body and mind and judgment. And then, you know, he makes a big deal of my trauma history, and it's like, that is not my primary issue right now. Do I have trauma in my history? Yes. We all do. No one leaves this planet unscathed, untraumatized, without experiencing pain. No one gets out of here unscathed. No one. But he makes it a point to nitpick at certain things, to feign concern, drum up alarm, right? So where I'm at now is just rebuilding my financial stability, my housing stability, my education and career, and my name, my reputation in the community, which I've done a great job so far of. However, I think he knows my name now. He's been trying to use both names on our communication website. He's been very sarcastic and rude in his communications with me. You know, when I tell him, you know, you need to tell me about any and all meetings and any school-related things. You are not the sole proprietor of her school events. I'm entitled to know this information. I have primary custody. We share joint, but I have primary household, and I'm entitled to this information. So if you do anything with the school, like schedule a meeting, I need to know about it. Not after, not when you feel like it, before it happens. When you take her to the doctor, I need to know as soon as you know. Because the requirement of me is that I tell you as soon as I know. So you can't have an expectation of someone else that you wouldn't expect yourself to do. And this is co-parenting. He doesn't want to co-parent. So where we're at right there is there's no rebuild and rebirth of our co-parenting relationship. That's impossible right now. And the courts don't understand how to manage a co-parent that has narcissism and that has severely damaged and abused the other parent and uses the legal system to do so, and says things like, I sincerely I wish you the best, and I hope that you have all the continued success that you deserve. After he'll pray for my mental health, and then he says, I wish you I see that you have continued success, all the continued success you deserve. Just like little jabs, and just like turning that knife. And, oh, have a blessed day. Really? How is that godly of you? How are you cursing me and blessing me? That's so passive aggressive. And, you know, some people from the outside are like, oh, well, he's just trying to be nice. No, it's a dig. It's sarcasm. He operates under sarcasm and put downs. He wants a reaction so that he can feed off of it. And if he gets a reaction, he feeds off of it, and he continues to apply pressure so he can get more. So I've stopped responding. I say what I have to say, or I ask my ask, and if I get a stupid response, it ends there. I know I'm not going to get any kind of a mutual conversation, a co-parenting relationship, mutual understanding, meeting of the minds, or working together on anything related to our child. We have to just, he parents when he parents, I parent when I parent, and we have the minimal amount of conversation as possible. The judge did something wonderful for me. We're at about 2 minutes now. So I'm going to wrap this up, this piece of it. The judge did something wonderful in our custody orders. You know, we've been going since 2013 into court on the matter. And we just went in January, and she wrote something into her order with a permanent protective order that prohibits him from engaging in the behaviors that he had engaged online and with professionals and other people. Has it stopped him? No, he's done it again. But I do have a permanent protective order that she can now, because if he's disobeying her order, she can now have steeper sanctions. In addition to that, I'm looking into other relief, such as I live in a different state. I may utilize my state resources to alleviate some of this. He's been in 4 or 5 different homes now, with 4 or 5 different women now, and every time he gets someone new, he immediately has them interacting with our child. I've got just a minute here left. He has them immediately working, communicating, interacting with our child, picking them up from school. Like, that's crazy. I didn't introduce her to anyone I've known until I've known them at least a year. Anyway, I want to thank you all for listening. I know I'm leaving it off at such a weird place, but there will be more. I love you all. Be good to one another. Thank you, Rebirth Radio, Simone Higginbottom, and thank you to Shadow Worlds Media. Until next time, this is Another Perspective.
You're listening to Another Perspective talk show.
Shadow, radio.
This show is brought to you by Rebirth Radio.